two, one, and we are recording right now. So, welcome everybody in Vietnam, whatever you are. If you're watching this in the morning, if you're watching this in the afternoon, good afternoon to you. If you're watching this in the evening, good evening to you. Whatever time you like to watch. If you're a night owl, I mean, good night, maybe. Anyways, this is Coffee with Adam, and I'm joined today by Amy from NCUK. Amy, how you doing?
Hi, Adam. I'm very well, thank you. All good. Just
Nice.
morning here in the UK.
Great. Is it cloudy in the UK? Because it is cloudy in Sweden.
Yes, it is cloudy here in Manchester, actually, where we are.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it was lovely yesterday, but a bit of rain today.
I do hope that it doesn't rain for a whole week, because it's going to rain here for a whole week. So I hope it doesn't rain for a whole week over there.
That's October for you, though.
Yeah.
We had a good September, good sunny September, but yeah, now the winter is coming.
Oh God, winter is coming. That's from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
All right. So, Amy, before we start, I would just like to tell our audience, our students who are watching as well, that what is this about? So you might ask me, okay, so you're chatting with Amy from NCUK. What is this? You're joining me today here to watch the first episode of Coffee with Adam. So I do have my coffee right here. Amy has her cup of coffee.
You can't even see it.
You can't even see it. And Coffee with Adam is actually a multiple episode series where the first episode, we're starting here with Amy from NCUK. She's going to be talking about why should you apply to NCUK, what's so special about the NCUK, why the NCUK qualification is more unique than other qualifications, and also why studying at UEH is also more unique than studying in other study centers. And also in the second episode and onwards, we're going to be inviting university partners within the NCUK to talk about their universities and what you can do to increase your chances to apply to the universities. There are going to be some unique things you shouldn't miss, actually. So this will expand for about, I'll say 16, 20 episodes probably, where we talk about where we have some interesting insights for you to learn about these universities. And some of these universities that are partnered within the NCUK are within the top 100 ranked universities worldwide. So it's a great opportunity for you to be joining us on the show. So I'm going to say thank you, and I'm not going to be mumbling for too long because I just keep talking. I love talking so much. And I'm just going to start by, again, thanking Amy for joining me today. And I'm probably going to be asking you the first question because I have my questions here on the left side and I can see them, but you can't see them, but I can see them. So Amy, could you please introduce yourself to us? I think this is the very common question that I should ask you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no problem. Well, hello everyone. I'm here from the UK. Hi to everyone in Vietnam. It's nice to be here actually talking to you, Adam, and I'm very happy to share some information on the foundation program that we're going to be running at UEH. My role at NCUK is regional manager for the region, so I will help all of the centres in the Asia Pacific region in lots of different things, from student support to helping the running of the business from the academic side as well, and being there for the teachers, the students, and all of the administration staff as well from NCUK's point of view. So I've been at NCUK for 6 or 7 years now, so quite a long time. And I originally started out in NCUK as a placement support officer or student support officer. And that was really to start helping the students around the world to get their places at university. So we normally have around about 3,000 students that study our programs, and all of those students, they get this guaranteed place to university. So we work very hard behind the scenes in Manchester to make sure that the students get those places. So that's how I started out at NCUK, and from now I account manage the centres, so having a lot more one-to-one time with the staff themselves. Yeah, so that's my role.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting. Thank you, Amy, for giving us that amazing introduction. Actually, I never knew that we had so much support, but now you're telling me, I'm really confident about about having so much.
You can call me anytime, Adam.
Yeah, that's really great. You told me really important points here about your position, but I'd like to know about more about the NCUK. Some of the unique points about the NCUK and what makes the NCUK as a foundation program. If we're talking about the NCUK foundation program, because we do have other programs within the NCUK, but we're focusing on the foundation program, the NCUK IFY right now. What makes the NCUK IFY more unique, or in comparison with other qualifications that we have, that a student more aware of?
Yeah, sure. So the foundation year itself was developed out of a group of universities that got together back in 1987, so quite a long time ago, probably before a lot of our viewers were born, actually. So it has been established for some time, and the way it was established was actually it was the Malaysian government that contacted one of our universities, so one of our universities in Manchester, and said, we have a group of Malaysian students that want to come over we want to send to study at the university. And so our university was like, great, we'll welcome those students over with open arms. How many students is it? And they said, it's about 1,000. And the university was a bit concerned because they needed to be able to place these students somewhere. They didn't have enough space for the students. So what they did was they decided to call a meeting with a group of other universities around the UK and said, can we share out these students amongst and find places for all of them? And so a meeting was called. The universities came on that day, that one particular day in 1987. They sat around a table and they started what is now NCUK. Wow. And so that group of universities have been working together for so long, and there's been challenging times, there's been really brilliant times, but through that, they have created these programs that are specific for international students. So what that means is that the students that they brought over, they found that they were capable to do the qualification, but there was something a little bit missing from their studies because they were slightly younger than the UK students. So the students were typically maybe 17 years old, and the students in the UK had actually done their A-levels, and they were 18. So they developed a foundation program which would bridge that gap so that all students, whether they were from Malaysia, whether they were from Vietnam, all around the world, would come to university on the same level playing field. And so they could all go to their lectures and have that same background and knowledge, but also in the cultural understanding of how you learn at university. So that foundation program that was designed back in 1987 has developed obviously over the last 30 odd years to become what it is today, and it's continuously updated. But essentially the program provides the students with the academic knowledge, but also from an international perspective, the cultural awareness that they need and the English language to make sure that they succeed on the degree program. And I think that's what makes NCUK a little bit special, is that we're not a simple private company that's developed these foundation courses. We're actually the universities themselves that have developed the programs to make sure the students are ready and will do well on their degree program when they come to university. I think that's probably what makes us a little bit different to the
No, I do agree with you. I think that's very quite unique to the NCUK. The importance of focusing the students not only just to get a qualification so they can get to university, but rather cultural awareness, using the same education model as they use in university. And also focusing on their academic English, as well as developing their skills as well. So it's multi-focus qualification. It's not just aiming at one thing, which is language and getting to university. It's rather giving them that cultural awareness as well and developing their background, so they're more ready, so they don't have a cultural shock when they go overseas. And
yeah, I just think combining the knowledge of lots of different universities as well, not just choosing, one university who's developed one foundation program. It's this contribution from lots of different universities, and now not just in the UK but in Australia as well. So they're all working together to create the absolute perfect program for their students to get their first class degrees or their distinctions or whatever it is.
Definitely. I think that's actually kind of a vision of a global education in some sense. So it's the first step to becoming a global education provider. And I think NCUK has achieved that like so greatly that it's so unique compared with other qualifications. That's just outstanding. So we talked about how important it is to keep the students like culturally aware and also developing their English. So now maybe the students will think about, okay, so I do have a strong interest in actually applying to NCUK. I do want to get into this program. What are some of the kind of the entry requirements for our Vietnamese students in Vietnam that they have to meet before they can apply to NCUK IFY?
Yes, so the students come generally from high school. So once you've passed your high school, you generally would come on to the foundation year. Yeah. So in Vietnam, we would take students from year 12 who've completed year 12. But we would also take students who had completed year 11 if they've got high enough grades. So generally from upper secondary school, graduate with an average of 5 or more in their subject areas, then they would be able to come onto the program. But if they're coming on from year 11, then we would ask them for an average of 7 or more, with at least 7 in maths or English. So they would probably be the 2 routes. And so the idea is that if you're really, really sure you want to study abroad, then you can actually get there a little bit quicker if you come on from year 11. But generally, again, if you finish high school in Vietnam, I think the age you are is probably around about 17. So once you've done the foundation, then you'd be 18. You'd be the same age as the students in the UK, in Australia, when you're going to university. And then the other qualifications you can come onto the program for, things like IGCSE. So if you're from an international school and you're wanting to perhaps do a foundation year instead of A-levels, that's absolutely possible. The same with the middle years program. Instead of going on to do the IB, you can do a 9-month foundation course instead of doing a 2-year IB program. So there are lots of different entry points. On our website, you can see the different entry requirements that you can get from all of the different qualifications. But if you're in any doubt at all, you can, Adam, you're there to ask. You can ask me. There's lots of people that are available to ask about that.
Indeed. I do want to emphasize on that again, just to confirm the students heard this clearly. So there's 2 entry points. The first one is year 11, and they need to have a GPA of 7.0 out of 10, and an English level that is equivalent to IELTS 5.0, as you said. And then the second entry point is the year 12. So they have completed year 12 and they have a GPA that is equivalent to 6.0 out of 10. 5.0 out of 10. And then the IELTS level is also equivalent to 5.0 for the year 12 as well.
That's correct, Adam, yes. But the only thing to probably mention here as well is that it doesn't need to be an IELTS. So you don't have to go and get a UKBI IELTS. You don't have to go and get any specific IELTS. We can take any English language test onto the program, but as long as it's a widely recognized one, so things like Password, Duolingo, we can take all of those, TOEFL. And if you haven't got one, we can actually test you at UEH. So we can actually do those tests either online, virtually, or in person.
Yeah, that's great. I think students will be more happy to hear about that, so they don't have to go into IELTS and then have to.
You don't have to go and take an expensive test. Yeah, it's not necessary for students, and all we're interested in is you've got a base level of English, and then we can work with you on the foundation to really help you to get to where we need you to be. So we'll work with you to know what exactly are the English requirements for your chosen course at the end of the day, and that's all that our teachers need to know. It's just that you've got a base.
Yeah. Well, that's actually really good to know. I think students are always wondering about whether should I do that or not, or this and that. But I think clarifying this, I think now students are more than happy to be like, yeah, now I know. I don't have to worry about IELTS or TOEFL. Because it becomes so competitive. I see students in Vietnam who just really worry. There's like their fear to do IELTS or PTE. It's like, I don't want to do it.
It's stressful. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's one of the things with the foundation year that we do is we test students' English throughout the year, which gives us a much broader understanding of what their level is like, because I know from doing exams myself, you can go in and you can just have a bad day on the exam.
True.
And so it can be stressful, and it's not a natural. It's not natural, is it, to do exams? So when you're doing a speaking exam, you're not going to perform exactly how you would outside of an exam room. So, yeah.
And I think that's why students who apply to NCUK will be much happier, because I think this moves to my next point where, so NCUK actually prepares students, like you said earlier, in different ways. It's not just focusing on the language aspect. We do have a very unique structure that we teach students, using that structure to teach students. So could you just mention the structure that the student will be when they go to university, to NCUK IFY? How does it look like? So do they study 3 subject streams and an EAP module? Could you tell the student a little bit more about that?
Yes, so the students would be doing this program full time. So it's not usual for the students to do anything else on top of the foundation, but sometimes you do. Sometimes some students do it alongside some other study, but it's quite demanding because it's a 9-month program. So you're in class usually 20 hours per week. Mm-hmm. So you're studying for that time with a face-to-face teacher, which is really good because you're getting that sort of one-to-one experience with a lot of the teachers. You can be going in there, you'll be in a class of maybe 15 other students, but you'll have lots of experience to sit down with that teacher and really focus on what it is you're struggling with, or what it is you want to do. So your typical week is split into 3 different subject modules. So you would be doing something that you're interested in, and I really recommend that you do pick something that you're interested in, because that's the only way you will succeed on the program, is if you have any sort of interest into what you're doing, because you've got to do a lot of reading around that subject area as well. So you would probably be doing, say you wanted to go on to have a career in medicine, you would probably choose biology, chemistry, and maybe maths as your 3 subject areas, because they're like the foundations of what you need to go on to do a science-based course. If it was engineering, you might choose physics as one of your subject areas. And you would study those, that aspect of it, 12 hours per week. So broken up into blocks of 4 per subject. Right. And then you would have 8 hours of English for academic purposes. So you do 4 hours of maths, 4 hours of biology, 4 hours of chemistry, and then 8 hours of English. And that 8 hours of English that you're doing per week is actually building on what you're learning in the subject areas as well. So, for example, if you were to do a presentation for your biology module, that presentation would actually be then gone over again in your English for academic purposes class. So your English teacher would be like, okay, so you're doing a presentation in your biology. Let's look at this and see how we can improve you on the English aspect of it. They won't consider the biology aspect of it, but they will be saying, right, well, is your grammar correct? Is this the way you should be presenting? And the same with like an essay for maybe one of your other modules. That would be worked on with your English teacher. So the teachers at UEH will be very much collaborating in what they're teaching you as a student. If that makes sense.
No, definitely. That's actually very, very clear. I think a lot of students worry whether just going to be, it's going to be separated modules and there's no connection whatsoever between the modules, and I have to study English separately, and it's like just focused on, you know, something that is not related to what I'm studying. And these modules, like say the science modules that I'm studying, are not connected with one another. But I think the way you explained it does clarify that, and does clarify that actually it's the opposite. There is connection. There is a lot of connection because the teachers collaborate together to provide the student with a better learning experience, and also to help improve their again, like academic English, and also the subject knowledge as well, the field that they're studying, and also develop skills at the same time as they're studying this, because they're improving a lot of skills at the same time, which is incredible. I think this is a great thing to think. It's a great aspect of NCUK that is standing out compared with other foundation programs. And I think students are nowadays, because, you know, the career world is like the main focus for a lot of students. So a lot of students nowadays ask the very simple question is like, is there any work integrated like learning that could happen afterwards, like after I finish NCUK IFY? Are these partner universities within the NCUK, do they use like integrated work learning in their subject, in teaching their subjects or degrees, I would say, at university? Because a lot of students nowadays just want to know, after I finish the foundation program, when I go to university and they're partnering with NCUK, am I gaining actually that value that I have been building up to when I was in NCUK, and then actually when I at university, you know, kind of like going higher and higher because of the way they teach their the kind of like work integrated. So are there any internships, for example, at university?
Yeah. I hear this more and more now. Like in the last few years, there's been such a shift towards looking at what career the student wants to go to rather than looking at what degree. So it's always working back from that. And when I went to university, I didn't even consider what type of career that I was going to do. It was just like, oh, you're good. I did biology at university. It's probably why I've talked about that before. But I just knew I was good at biology, so I had to go and do a biology degree. But now there's such much more of a shift towards, right, okay, this is the career that I need to get, that I want. And so I work back from that and see how I can get it. So these are the degrees I can do to get that career. And the work experience that you get at university is really paramount for that, because you there's a lot of competition for jobs. And if you're spending this amount of money on your degree program in the UK or in Australia or New Zealand, wherever it is, you want to be able to know that you're going to be able to get to an international company, perhaps, or a company in Vietnam that will, you know, pay you well. You'll have job satisfaction. So university, I'd say, is the perfect time to try out these different companies. So if you can do a degree that has a year in industry, then I would say 100% go for that. Or even just a work placement as part of it. And there's some of our universities will offer 100% of our students that opportunity. One of the things that you should bear in mind and read the fine print when you're going to university is that you should check whether you need to get a certain grade in your first year in order to be eligible for your work placement in second year. Because sometimes you might go on and think, well, I'm going to my work placement in second year, but they may only take you as long as you get like 50% in your first year. So whilst the first year doesn't necessarily count towards your final grade at university, it might actually have a knock-on effect for your later progression. So obviously you need to be checking those kind of things. But yeah, there are some universities like, I don't know, at Sheffield Hallam, Huddersfield, they're very, very strong on work placements. Sheffield, they have such good connections with engineering firms. You know, they work with Boeing, and the students get lots of hands-on experience with these companies if they want it. So yeah, my advice would be, have a look at our course finder, and I can show you that course finder, which shows you all the degrees you can do. But if you see that it has a year in industry, then then that's a really, really good aspect of that degree program.
Amy, do you wanna actually show us that course finder, since you mentioned that you wanna?
Yeah, I will do actually.
Do you mind sharing your screen when you're ready?
Yeah, so this is the NCUK website. Can you see that now?
Oh, yes, it's very clear.
Yeah, okay. So our website has lots of information. Hopefully it's not going to information overload you, but we have we have a course finder which all of our universities contribute to. So obviously you can go onto the university's own websites themselves, but this gives you a good understanding of the types of degrees that you can study. So all of our students, when they start our program, they will be counselled by their tutors, and they will be asked what kind of things they're interested in. Yeah. And they will help them to really understand what careers they want to get and how they get there. So, for example, you can select on here. You've got lots of different universities to choose from. You've got the universities in Australia, UK, New Zealand. You can just simply select all universities, select your qualification, which is the foundation year, and then you can type in any sort of degree that you're interested in. It doesn't have to be the specific degree. Yeah. But you start to type in, say, engineering. Yeah. And click on find courses. And it will bring up all of the different degrees that have the word engineering in them or anything related to engineering. So that might be, as you can see here, acoustical and audio engineering, completely different to the likes of civil engineering. But you could narrow that down by putting in civil engineering. Yeah. But as you can see, so this has brought up the University of Salford has got a lot of engineering degree programs. There's Leeds, Kingston, and aerospace engineering at Bristol, Sheffield Hallam. Yeah. And what you can do here is you can see the grade requirements that you need to get onto this university. So the University of Bristol, absolutely fantastic university. You're looking at one of the world ranking universities here, and particularly for engineering, it's very, very good. So in order to get to the University of Bristol from the foundation year, you need to have A star, A in your grades. Okay, so that means if you're doing engineering, you'd probably have done physics, maths, maybe even further maths, and you would need all A's to get onto that program because it's very, very competitive. Amy,
do you mind if I ask what does the star stand for? Maybe students ask for the star. Does that mean A plus? Is it like
basically A plus? All right. Yeah, so it's just a higher A.
Got it.
And then you would need, so the EAP, which stands for English for Academic Purposes, that they require an overall grade B. And you will probably notice this a lot with the engineering courses versus the business courses. Yeah. The engineering tends to require a little bit lower in the English than the business humanities courses. And it's generally because you're using a lot more maths in the engineering. You're not using as much, essay-based English and that kind of thing. So so you'll see that this tends to be sometimes a little bit lower. If you look at the University of Manchester, for example, they actually only require a C, but they're still, a top-ranking university in engineering. But the likes of, say, if you wanted to do business, if you're going to go to one of the top-ranking universities, they're probably going to look for a little bit higher in their English. Now, let me just show you, for example.
Do you mind if we talk about the NCUK guarantee? Because a lot of universities that you can see, for example, accounting and business management here by Keele University, they have if the student meets the minimum requirement of a triple C in the subject stream and then a total EAP grade of a C, they do meet the guarantee. The guarantee system. So now the student is actually guaranteed to get a placement at university as long as they've met that requirement. But that varies from one university to others. Like we saw with University of Bristol, they had a AAA requirement and an overall EAP score of a B. So it differs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So our guarantee is as long as you get 3 grade C's in your foundation program, you will guarantee to get you a place at university. So you can be 100% assured, your parents can be 100% assured that you will go to university if you pass the program, and we'll do everything we can to make sure that you pass the program. So the higher ranked the university you want to go to, usually the more competitive it is, and the higher the grades that you need to get into that program. Right. So that's why you see the differences.
Yes.
So yeah, you need to also have an average grade of EAP. And the reason we have the grade requirements in place for the guarantee is because if you were to fail the program, it would be difficult for us to find a university to accept you, because you haven't completed the program or you haven't failed it. Yeah. But luckily, most of our students do pass the program, and even if you don't get into your first choice, which is rare, we will find you another university that is most interested to you, the degree program you like, and there's no limit to that. So we would keep finding universities and presenting these opportunities to students until they were happy with which university they want to go to.
Yeah. Amy, I think you mentioned previously that the student who applies to their first choice university, they have a 90% chance, or is it 90% of the students who apply to their first choice university, they get that university? Yeah,
so they 90% of our students actually go to their first choice university. Nice. Yeah. And that's to do with a few things. Obviously, preparing them well to make sure they get the grades that they want, but also making sure that they apply to universities that are right for them. So there's no point in a student that is likely to be predicted maybe C grades to apply for an A grade course if it's very unlikely for the student to get that offer. So, but if that student feels that they can get an A grade and they can work really, really hard and move up from that C to an A, then we're not going to stop them from applying to an A grade course. We will work with that student to say, right, this is what you need to do. You're going to have to work very hard, but let's do it. And we get 90% of our students through to that. So it's really, really good. And we get a lot of happy students at the end of the day, which is what makes my job fun.
I think that's great to hear about that, because I think Vietnamese students are actually very interested in this idea of like actually as long as they can meet a certain requirement, they can guarantee a place. But not only that, if they work harder, they are more rewarded by higher ranking universities as well. And there's I
think that's a really good point as well, Adam, is that, say, for example, you've got a student who's got a GPA of 5 out of 10 and they want to go to a top world ranking university. If they applied directly to the foundation at that top world ranking university, they would be unlikely to get onto that program because they haven't done as well in their high school. However, this almost gives the students a second chance in that they can come onto our program. We have a very equal approach to students. They can all come on, and then we will work with the students to get to where they want to be. So they have to, if they are wanting to then go from having high school with 5 out of 10 to go to get A grades, they will need to work hard, but at least they have the opportunity to do that. That's
an
equal approach to students.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think students are so happy to hear about that. They're like, finally second chance if they need to. But I think a lot of students in Vietnam, they're more than happy to apply to not just because it's a second chance, but also because they're interested in the program as well as a pathway to UK and Australia and New Zealand as well. But sorry, I interrupted you. You were trying to show us about the...
I think that, I pretty much went through it, but you can look at the course facts from here. So if you want to then find out more information about Keele University, Accounting and Business Management, you can, obviously, they tell you the information here, but there's also links to the actual website itself. And that's where you'd obviously find out a lot more information about the modules and the like, for example, here you've got 3 years or 4 years with international placement or entrepreneurship. Nice. Which is what we were talking about earlier, and that you're able to apply for. So it's really, really good.
That's great.
You can find out a lot more information about the actual modules usually. Let's see where this one is, but so course overview.
Yeah.
And that's important as well. So there's so many different programs out there. have a look at the different modules that you'll be studying, because do they appeal to you? Do they not? Are there particular aspects of the course that you think you would enjoy? And then again, that's why the foundation year is quite good, because it gives you an opportunity to try out different course areas first, and then decide what degree program you want to do, rather than just straight away opting for a foundation for accounting and business.
No, that's really great. So I was just taking a sip of my coffee. I don't know, Amy, you haven't had a sip of your coffee yet, so you're just so enthusiastically talking about NCUK IFY, and I appreciate that enthusiasm, actually. But it's great that you're actually sharing that, and you shared with us how the student can actually go and find out more about how to use the course finder and how they can do their own research. But they also can get help from the tutors at NCUK IFY at so they can also get guidance at the same time as they're doing their own research, so they don't feel like they're left out, by themselves and they have to do everything. But they also get support from us through NCUK. So this is great. So now the student is like, I think very commonly I get this question. It's like, what kind of scholarships do I get? Are there any scholarships that the NCUK provide? What kind of scholarships that I get after I finish NCUK IFY? Are there any unique scholarships that certain universities offer only to NCUK IFY students? Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so the students are able to apply for whichever scholarships that they want from our universities, and there's some really good scholarships actually that our students apply for and win each year. We have a really big sort of awards ceremony that's usually held in November time once the students have gone to university. This year it's because of the pandemic, we're not holding it in November, unfortunately, which is a shame, but we'll probably hold it in March if everything still, is open by then. But we have this big ceremony, and we bring all the students who have won the scholarships to the University of Manchester building, which is where our office is based. And we basically have a big party. Some of them bring their parents. They travel from all around the world. So it's a really lovely way to meet other students that have done the foundation program. So we have students from China, Nigeria, Mexico, Peru, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. It's all over the world, and they meet and they talk about their experience at foundation, and that some of them will be at the same universities, because they'll obviously have all gone to the NCUK universities. And the scholarships can be up to £5,000 per year off their studies. Some of them are automatic, so some of them are for just any student that's done the NCUK program. Some of them the students have to apply for, so you would apply for it based on how you've done in the foundation program, so your academic achievements. But some of the universities are interested in things like, how are you going to contribute to your community when you go back home? Why is this scholarship so important to you? What are you going to do in this field of study? So if it, say it is engineering, or say it's medicine, what is it that you're going to do, and what are your plans to contribute to society afterwards? And it's writing things like that, really showing you where you've come from, a student that's grown up in Vietnam, and you've gone through high school, you've gone through this foundation program, you're now going to go on to do a degree in pharmacy, but what is it that after that you want to be able to achieve? And those kind of scholarships usually are sort of generally the bigger ones, that you can really prove that you are going to do something with it. Because the university is interested in attracting students that are going to make a difference at the university, not just from the academic side as well, but also socially, and get involved with things. NCUK offers a lot of different prize awards for our students. So in every class around the world, we'll offer a prize award to the top achieving student in that class. So when you join UEH and you're in a class of 15 students, you can be sure that one of you is going to get the prize for the top achieving student. So it's good to know. And I'll just show you, let me just show you where you can find the information about the scholarships that are available. A second. So if you go to ncuk.ac.uk/scholarships, that updates every year. So this year you can see the undergraduate scholarships that we have, and you'll see there's quite a fair amount that you can see.
That's by each university have multiple scholarships, as we can see in the table. So
and it'll tell you what you need to get in the program.
Oh wow, these are some really generous scholarships. Wow, look at that, £5,000 and £10,000. I wish if I'm a student now, so I can apply to these scholarships.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I didn't get a scholarship when I went to university. I wish I did, but there's lots available to international.
That's incredible.
Students.
Oh wow.
And usually you can find the information on the particular university's website as well. So University of Leeds offer a foundation year scholarship for the business school specifically, and it's to be awarded automatically. So all NCUK students who receive an offer from Leeds will be eligible for this award, and then they just need to achieve A*AA on the programme. That's all you need to do to get that award of 3,000 off your fees. So when you think about the costs of doing the foundation programme in the UK as opposed to actually doing it in Vietnam, you're saving a considerable amount, because the likes of the foundation in Vietnam is a lot cheaper than doing it in the UK, but it's the same program. But then if you add on the things like you're saving on your living costs, massive saving, then you're saving on actual tuition fees at the university by getting awarded these scholarships. You could be saving like £20,000. I don't know what that is in Vietnamese dong. I'd have to check. I always forget, but
don't ask me either, because I have to say
it changes all the time anyway.
Yes, it does. But the numbers in Vietnam, it's in millions, so it's going to be really hard for me to try to keep that in my mind as well. In Vietnamese dong.
Vietnamese dong.
Yeah. Oh, goodness gracious.
So, it's a considerable saving.
Wow. That's really good to know. I think students are very keen on actually that information will provide the student with the thought that how much value there is for actually investing in NCUK IFY at UH compared to like studying in overseas and spending all of that money. So saving that £20,000, I think it's incredible.
And a lot of students will, even if they were able to afford that, some of the parents say, well, this saving that we'll have from doing the foundation year in Vietnam, we could actually use towards helping our son or daughter do a master's course abroad as well. So, even if you do have that money, the saving is there to invest in future study as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think students love this. I think that's going to be a great point for students, and they're going to be happy to hear more about this. And probably I can share more details when I talk to students myself as well about those and guide them through. But I think you showed us like really good so far. You told us about the course finder, how to find the courses, and even the scholarships, where to find updated information about the scholarships that universities within the NCUK partnership offer. What kind of scholarships they offer and how to find those. It's great information. Now, I think the students are mainly in Vietnam. I think you already answered this question, but I'm just going to emphasize on it one more time. So a lot of students want to know what are my learning outcome? Okay. So how is NCUK IFY going to be truly like making me more unique compared to other qualifications? Okay.
So first of all, a Vietnamese student who's completed high school or completed IGCSE, it is a requirement from universities to have a foundation year to get onto the programs, and that's a university in Australia, in New Zealand, in the UK. So first of all, you need to have this program to get onto the program. It's not just an added value program. the universities will look at what you studied on that program, and they will decide whether to give you a place based on how well you've done on that program. So our main aim and your learning outcome will be to have a real strong background in the subject areas that we teach you. So whether that is in a business stream or an engineering stream and a humanities stream, that they are very, very important for all of your future study, even if it's not specific to exactly the course you want to study. So even if it's, you're doing a business stream, but you want to go into sports management, you will have that foundation of academic knowledge, but also the English for academic purposes knowledge that you need, and really the cultural aspect of it. So our foundation is different to other foundations because it's designed for international students. So when you're doing, say you were to do an A-level exam, that A-level exam has been written for UK-based students. So the examples in those questions, they're designed for UK students who've spoken English their whole life. So the way the program is set up is that our program is designed specifically for international students. So I was mentioning the fact that the A-level exams are designed for UK students, so the examples that they use in the tests and things are for UK-based students. When we design our program, it's designed with the fact that there are international students taking our program who haven't learned English their whole life. So we want to be mindful of that. We know that they have the academic ability. We just need to design the course content to make sure that we recognize what aspects that they need to then make sure they're on that level playing field when they get to university. And as I said right at the beginning, the whole point of NCUK and this consortium of universities is not just to do the foundation year. The whole point is really to make sure that the students are capable to succeed at our universities. That's what we want as an organisation. We want good, well-qualified students that can go on to do brilliant things in the world, get great degrees at our universities. So making sure that they're prepared exactly how we need them to be for our universities is the main learning outcome that I think students will get that is going to benefit them at university.
That's great to know. I think saying that will definitely, first of all, motivate the students to work harder to actually get into to consider getting into NCUK, but also when they're studying NCUK, knowing that in their mind that, okay, I'm not just studying a foundation year, I'm also studying a foundation year that's going to be benefiting my future now and even in the next like 5 years, 10 years as well. Like it's always like a great investment that I'm doing when I'm studying NCUK IFY. It's great to know that. I think students will be happy to hear about that. The final two questions. So the one that I think a lot of students are interested in is, what are some of you already talked about career opportunities a little bit through universities, but as an NCUK IFY alumni, do they have any extra benefits to access the alumni network?
They do. So as I mentioned, we have this ceremony in November normally where a lot of the students come and meet together, and the students have the opportunity to become ambassadors for NCUK. So that if you were to go onto our website, you can see there's like little chat boxes come up where you can talk to previous students who've done the NCUK or who are studying at the university just now, and you can become an ambassador who is one of those students who helps to tell students about what life in the UK or Australia is like. So I would recommend, just as an aside from that, is you can listen to me and Adam talk all day, but I think that the best thing you could probably do is to go on and actually speak to one of these NCUK ambassadors who will tell you exactly what it was like to study the program. But yeah, there's lots of opportunities for you to actually work with us afterwards. And then again at university, you can work at university, you can get jobs, you can work about 20 hours a week when you're there if you want to. You don't have to.
No, but that's good to know, because I think a lot of students are mainly interested in knowing that I do have access to a network. I'm not just getting a like a foundation program, but I don't have access to whoever studied previously. But knowing now that actually you can access the network that we have like for many years, like the students who studied with us, you can even connect with them on the platform, and you can even in the future you can work with them if there's a possibility, depending on what kind of career life they have chosen. There's that opportunity for you to communicate with them and connect. And I think that's the thing about our modern time right now. It's like people just want to connect, with other alumni who studied the same program to kind of see if there's any work opportunities.
And it's so easy now, isn't it?
Oh, definitely.
I think one of the things with this pandemic is that it's made people able to communicate online a lot easier. We're more open to doing it.
Absolutely. I never thought myself to be hosting like a coffee with Adam talk.
Yeah, virtual coffee.
Yeah. So that's great actually. So I'm going to end the webinar or the coffee with Adam very soon, but I would like to ask you one final question. And I think this is going to be kind of the moment where students want to hear from you. If you have any advice for them before they apply to NCUK IFY and after they apply to NCUK, after they finished NCUK IFY, any advice do you have for those students?
Yeah, sure. So before you apply to the NCUK IFY, I'd say either go and visit the centre or meet with the teachers virtually. That's obviously, as we just said, it's so easy to do now. So have a chat with your teachers about the programme, about what your goals are. One of the things that I do sometimes say to students is make sure that you're happy with the university course that you want to apply to. Yeah. And I mentioned this earlier, if you're not interested in that field of study, you're probably not going to do the best you absolutely can and get the best degree that you can. So make sure it is something that you're interested in. Read around it, look at the different modules, look at the career paths that you can go from it. Mm-hmm. Don't just do a degree program that your auntie has told you to do or your mum or your dad. That their input is very important. I totally get that, but they're paying for your degree in most cases. But you have to always also talk to them about the fact that, well, is that actually what I'm interested in? Am I going to be happy for the rest of my life doing that degree program or doing that career? Yeah. So choose something fun that excites you, that you can be passionate about. Don't choose a university where your friends are going, like particularly if you're coming to the UK. It's such a small island that you can get to all of the different cities. I'm in Manchester, you can get to London within 2 hours. So, which is pretty much, other side of the country. Yeah. Don't choose somewhere where your friends are going. Choose somewhere that's going to be right for you, and you'll make new friends and you'll stay in touch with your old friends regardless. So do that, and I think take a look at the different universities and what they have to offer in terms of their living styles. So some are campus-based universities, some are city-based universities, and that can make an impact into how you live your life while you're at university. And so have this is all kind of information we'll tell you once you're on the course. Yeah. But I think at the moment during this pandemic, the key thing I say to students is to really don't stall your education because we're in a global pandemic. This is the one thing that you can continue with. There might be challenges with traveling around the world, having gap years right now, but there's no challenge with actually continuing your education. You can still do that, and then you can get onto that career path a lot sooner. So yeah, I look forward to welcoming you in March to do the foundation program.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good point to end the coffee today, with the coffee talk that we had today, especially the idea that, okay, don't stop your education. Okay, continue, even though the pandemic has, kind of shocked us like all in like, oh, goodness gracious, like I don't want to go there, or like I don't want to travel to the UK or Australia because of the pandemic. It's getting better and better. And I think countries now realizing how to solve these problems, and sooner or later this entire thing will end and students can travel freely, but of course things won't be back to normal, but it will be a better world. So don't be afraid, right? So as a student, don't be afraid.
And in Vietnam, of course, you can have that face-to-face teaching doing your foundation. because you know it's coping very well at the moment.
Oh, Vietnam is doing a great job. So
yeah.
So Amy, wonderful having you today. Thank you so very much for your time. I mean, you've been so awesome, like sharing so much information. I asked you for about an hour of questions, and I'm sorry if your throat is dry because of how much you've been giving us information about NCUK, but that was actually incredibly valuable information. I think students would definitely appreciate how much you've talked about and guided them through, and why should they come and apply to NCUK IFY at UH. I think students are grateful to you. I think I already hear them saying thank you already from the background, so that's great. So thank you again, Amy, for joining me today.
Thank you, everyone.
And this is the first episode of Coffee with Adam. So I finished my coffee. I hope you finished your coffee, Amy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see it this time?
Oh yeah.
It's actually Swedish mug.
Oh my goodness. Good. Helt unique. That says helt unique. It's extremely special, extremely unique. Wow. I love that. Okay.
Yeah, my Swedish mug.
Mine says coffee, and it smells good actually. So yeah. Thank you, Amy. I'm gonna end the live stream or the video here. So we'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So I'm going to stop the recording.